Hello everybody, welcome back then to Project Alpha. We're here once again for an update on the 147 GTA. Now, if you joined us last time, you'll know of course that the car had its engine taken out and the bodywork was being prepared for paint. More on that because it's behind me in a few moments' time. But for episode 3, we're going to change things up a little bit. What we're going to be doing for this episode is we're going to be shooting it over the course of a few weeks rather than one day. And the idea behind this is basically to give you a more in-depth look at the project as it progresses in real time. So lots of things to update you on then over the course of this episode. Let's get into it first of all and have a look and see what Big Neil's been up to in the paint booth. So, as you can see, a rather radically different looking 147 GTA. That's because Big Neil has been really busy behind the scenes getting the car prepared for paint, and as you can see now he's got the first 2 coats of primer on the 147 GTA. He's also gotten the engine bay prepared from when we took the 3.2 litre V6 engine out of it in the last episode. What we're going to be doing after this is he's going to be getting it all blocked down and then ready for the first base coat. So I think it's probably a good idea that we check in with him and see what the next plan is. So what have you done so far, first of all?
We finished off the prep work. We were 90% there in the last episode, so obviously that's all done. Car was etch primed and now high build primed, so we're ready for a bit of guide coat and blocking down, get it nice and laser straight and ready for a bit of base coat and clear coat. We're going to be another couple of weeks, I expect, to get it to that stage, just to get it absolutely perfect. You know, we'll probably end up re-priming it again to get it absolutely dead straight. So hopefully a couple of weeks time we should be putting some colour on it.
So yeah, that's pretty much it then. That's the car, how it looks like now. Basically what we're going to do is get the first base coat on it, the old man's then going to flatten it off, put another coat on it, and then we'll get the lacquer on and it'll be good to go. So basically the next time you see the 147 GTA, it should look nice and shiny and it should have a lovely fresh coat of paint on it. So you join me in the workshop then a couple of days later. You can tell we're in the paint booth at the moment because 1, it's very white in here, and 2, it's very echoey as well. Anyway, good news in that Big Neil's been busy painting the 147 and it's now pretty much finished in terms of the base coat and the lacquer and so on. So what I'm going to do is turn the camera around and walk you through it. So as you can see behind me, the car is looking a lot better than the last time you saw it. We've got 3 coats of the Alfa Romeo Red. It's all been lacquered up and it's now looking as good as hopefully the 147 GTA will go once we bolt it back together. But Big Neil's been really busy inside the paint booth getting this one looking as good as it possibly can be. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what it's like once we start bolting the car back together. So anyway, that's the car. Let's see where the next part of the vlog is going to take us then. Hello everybody, so welcome back then. Another new t-shirt, another wacky hairstyle going on again here today. We're back in the Brooks Restorations workshop for another little update on the project. Now, as you can probably hear behind me, Big Neil is keeping himself pretty busy at the moment. He's been busy getting the car painted. The last time you saw it, of course, it had its base coat and its lacquer put on, but now he's been busy flattening the car down and also getting the car buffed and polished. So let's go and catch up with him, shall we, and find out exactly what he's doing. Right, Big Neil, what have you been up to then? You've been busy getting this looking pretty good?
Yeah, it's all been going for sure. Yeah, last time we saw it, we lacquered it. The 4 coats of lacquer on it. It's now we've wet flattered it, 1500, then 2000. And we're now onto the polishing stage and picking any last little bits of muck out of it.
Right.
So, got a good few hours polishing. Yeah, my arms will be like an orangutan by the end of the day, no doubt. But
like an extra Mr. Tickle.
Yeah, that's it. Like that. Yeah, will be. Yeah, I'll be reaching across the whole roof without going around the other side.
Well, you are tall though, you've got that advantage.
Not that tall. The lacquer went on nicely, laid out nice and flat, so it's just bits of muck that you inevitably get in there. We're just taking like the orange peel effect out of it, trying to make it look as flat and sharp as possible.
And that's the whole idea with buffing and polishing, right?
Yeah, you take it doesn't matter how good a painter you are, it's just the process. You end up with like literally a ripple effect like orange peel on the skin. So you wet flat it till it's flat and then buff it, and hopefully it'll look like a sheet of glass when it's finished. Probably another at least once or twice, probably just to get all the scratches out. Then we go around with the finer compound again to get all the micro scratches out. Then it go around with the glaze after that. But that'll probably be done once we're all back together.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that the paint's good before we unmask it and start rolling it out, just in case there's any silly little touch-ups that we missed.
So what's the next step of the plan after this point then? Once you've got all of the main work of the body done, and obviously and bonnet and stuff.
Yeah, we'll probably get the shell back on the ramp and start putting some of the collection of parts we've got back in, like the fuel tank, and remake the brake pipes.
Start bolting some mechanical bits on.
Yeah, put some mechanical bits on all the rear axle and everything. Then probably just get the doors done so we can rehang the doors and the tailgate. Then we can get the glass people back, get the glass put in it.
So another day and another update on the 147 GTA, and as you can see behind me, it's looking a little bit different to when you last saw it. Last time it was in the paint booth and it had just been buffed for the first time. Since then, a few things have been going on behind the scenes, so I'm going to walk you through what he's been up to now. By the way, just want to apologise in advance for the state of my voice in this segment. Managed to pick up a nasty throat infection, so I sound like a cross between Barry White and Deirdre Barlow. But anyway, we'll have a look at the car now, shall we? And I'll tell you what Big Neil's been up to and see what he's got left to finish on the paintwork for this car. So as you can see, the car is looking a little bit different to when you last saw it. Mainly the paintwork has pretty much been finished on the majority of the car. The body's been all buffed and that's looking lovely. The rear tailgate up here, that's all been done and painted, and also, as you can see, the rear bumper has been finished. But it's underneath that I want to show you as well, because you can see under here, this is not how the 147 GTA came from the factory, but we've decided to stone chip it and to lacquer it to get it looking as nice as possible underneath, because these are all little details and I want to get this car looking as good as it possibly can do, and I think that this is just going to really, I guess, set it off from the competition. There's a load of 147 GTAs on the market and I thought, what can we do to stand out but keep it looking nice? And this was what I thought would be a nice option, to get it stone chipped underneath and to also get it lacquered. You can see Big Neil's also started reattaching some of the hoses and the pipes as well, as he starts to get the car reassembled, which will be nice. Fuel tank is just about ready to start going back into the car as well, so that will be good. A few wires that are hanging down here, still obviously a gaping hole where the engine sits, and in the next episode we'll be focusing more on the mechanical parts. So yeah, that's basically what Big Neil has been up to. We're going to have a look inside the paint booth now, see what he's got left to finish on this car. We're inside the paint booth now, and you can see first of all that the side skirts have been painted and lacquered. They've also been buffed, but Dad needs to actually mount these on the car before he can get them properly buffed and looking as good as the rest of the car does. You can see behind that, that is the bonnet, so that's still got to be painted. It's been primered, but that's the last sort of big part really before the car can be completed in terms of the paintwork. But obviously I imagine what we're going to do is put the engine in the car first before we get that done, just because it will make life a lot easier, because obviously we don't want to put the engine in and then suddenly find out that we've managed to nick some of the paintwork in the process of that. So Dad, do you want to talk us through what you've been doing on the car then?
Repairing that bumper took forever.
Yeah, talk us through that as well, because like if you come over here, obviously to the to the naked eye it looks like it came like that from factory, but obviously we know that that wasn't the case.
Yeah, obviously that section was cut out for the exhaust, so I made a piece of metal and curved it as a backing support round at the back, and then obviously the bumper's made out of plastic, but we've had to make it out of glass fibre there, then a little bit of filler to smooth it off.
And what about underneath as well, because obviously this isn't how the car came from the factory.
Yeah, it was a lovely job spraying it on back. I'd looked like a tomato by the time it's finished. So yeah, we've scraped the worst of the stone chip off on the floor pans, re-stone chipped, base coat and lacquered as well. Yeah, the exhaust heat shields and painting, unfortunately you can't buy those anymore, so I'm having to recondition those. The fuel tank straps are nearly dry, so the tank can basically go back in. Brake pipes front to rear are made and in, so we can get onto the rear suspension and get on with some mechanical stuff.
Which is going to be I guess that'll be the fast part of the process.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's much quicker. Yeah, for sure. Doesn't take nearly as long.
If you had to put a rough estimate on how many hours it's taken you to get to this point.
Blimey, 200 hours plus, I'd expect, just on the paint. I'd imagine, maybe more. I haven't really totted it up. It's probably more than that now. Yeah, then obviously flattening and polishing takes a while as well to get it like a mirror finish, but we're on the home stretch now.
So there we are, we're pretty much at the end game now with regards to paintwork. As I said, there's not really a lot more that we can do at this stage once it's all been finished off underneath, because of course we don't want to do the bonnet until the engine is back in the car. But before we conclude this episode, probably a good idea to give you a rundown of the budget, what we've spent so far on the car. So cue the graphics and some voiceover. So let's have a look then, shall we, and see what the Alfa owes us so far. We gave £4,750 for the car, and we've spent just over 760 quid in paint and materials, meaning the cost at this early stage of the project is just over £5,500. So there we are, not actually looking too bad in terms of the budget at this stage, but of course we've still got lots of oily bits to go on the car. The mechanical parts are going to be what costs the money, so that's something to bear in mind, and also something to bear in mind for the next episode as well, because that's where we're going to be. Myself and Big Neil are going to be up and down the country scouring for all of the parts that we need for the 147 GTA. We've got coilovers, we've got the Quaife diff to go on. So anyway, I hope you can join us for the next episode. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of Project Alfa as well. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. From Big Neil and from myself, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Take care.